Welcome back everybody, and in today's video I will be rating every car in Need for Speed Most Wanted. Take note that will be every stock car in Need for Speed Most Wanted, so no tuning, no special editions, just stock form, every car. I'm gonna breeze through them, sit back, relax, and let me do the ratings. The first car, of course, is the Lexus IS300, and yes, of course, this thing is easy to drive, extremely easy to drive. The handling is good. I'd say 4-star handling. It's not a car that over or understeers too much, just balanced. Grip is solid. So yeah, there's not much wrong, I'd say, with the IS300. My only criticism is that for an inline 6, the engine sounds more boring than listening to a geography teacher. So yes, final rating 7 out of 10. Next up is the Fiat Punto, and off the bat this light Italian hatchback sounds much nicer than the IS300. The 1.4 litre has a nice fizzy note to it. I really like the sound, and yes, once again, very balanced car, easy to control, and it's better in tight spaces than the IS300, and somehow it does feel faster. So do I think it's better than the IS300? Yes, I do. For the sound and the control it has in tight corners, 7.5 out of 10. Next up is the Chevrolet Cobalt SS, and immediately feels quicker than the Fiat and Lexus. I think the car's got good control, once again easy to drive, and I do think it's closely matched to the Fiat, but for me it has a less better sounding engine. I think it's less entertaining than the Fiat, and it's got slightly too much understeer at high end turns. So yes, I think the Fiat is better, but the Cobalt is still good, so 7 out of 10. Next up is the VW Golf GTI, and this is a noticeable improvement from the previous options. I think it has the best handling and pace of the others. Acceleration feels better, and it has got that 7,000 RPM red line. So I think so far it's the best choice of the others. The only thing I can put on it is that the engine sounds the most boring of them, or even more boring than the IS300, but still solid 8 out of 10. Now we've got the Audi TT 3.2 Quattro, and this is a big step up from the other vehicles, like leaving Tottenham to join Arsenal. It is much faster than the previous cars. The grip is the highest so far, by substantially. Acceleration is the best, and my god, the 3.2 liter V6 sounds fantastic, way better than the others. I think it's the best choice so far without a doubt, and the coolest looking so far, so 9 out of 10 for the Audi TT. Audi A3 3.2 Quattro. This is basically the TT in hatchback form. They feel identical in how they drive. It possesses most of the TT's dynamics, although the engine does sound different, but not as excellent as the TT, and it does understeer more than the TT slightly. So for that reason, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Next is the Mitsubishi Eclipse, and acceleration is a strong point in the Eclipse. I think the V6 sounds decent, but not better than the TT. It does understeer more at the top end than I'd like, but overall it is solid. I just don't see why you'd pick it over the excellent Audi TT or even the A3, but it does look cool though, so 7.5 out of 10. Audi A4 3.2 FSI Quattro. Once again, I think it's like the TT but in sedan form. The good handling, the pace, the grip, but the brakes are slightly stronger in the A4 than the TT. It's an all-rounder. I think it's on par, so yeah, 9 out of 10. Next is the Toyota Supra, and it definitely feels like the fastest car so far, and I really like the inline 6 with its turbo whoosh sound on gear changes. And it is a tail-happy car that likes to kick the tail out a lot. This makes it so far the most challenging car to drive. You can lose control easily if you're too heavy on the throttle during corner exits. So yeah, get the Audi for all-round poise, but for me, this is the most entertaining option so far, so 9 out of 10. Renault Clio V6. This is the fastest hatchback so far, and from the get-go you notice the Clio's sharp steering, and it feels light. I think it's easy to control. Although the acceleration is not the best, but at least it is pacey and straight line. It has less better handling than the Supra and Audis though. So it is good, and I think it's on the level of the Eclipse, but not better than the Supra. So final rating 7 out of 10. Next up is the Mazda RX-8, and this car feels quite light on its feet and crisp. Steering is positive and it feels like it's pivoting around you. Problem is, it feels noticeably slower than some of the previous options. You know, it lacks that forceful pace. The 9000 RPM red line is a nice perk, but it doesn't sound that crazy. And it understeers a bit at high speeds, and the brakes are okay. So for this one, I'm thinking 6.5 out of 10. Next is the Cadillac CTS, and it is definitely notable for its power. It has good straight line speed with competent pace, but the Achilles heel is the handling. At a high speed corner, the weight really shows itself, and this Cadillac has average handling. In high corner races, it's not a good pick. Handling is too important, so for me, I'm not keen on the Cadillac. Great power, but final rating 6.5 out of 10. Ford Mustang GT. First of all, the 5-liter V8 sounds brilliant. With that deep-chested rumble, it's really exciting. I think it's got really good pace. And like the Supra, it's tail happy, so twisty sections can be a challenge to control. It is entertaining to drive, but like the Cadillac, the handling isn't the best. But it's still better than the Cadillac, so 7.5 out of 10. Bishi Lancer Evo 8. This is another of those all-round machines. Handling, grip and control are all excellent. I don't think it's faster than the Supra, but it is competent at high speeds. The engine sounds exciting as well. I think it is a good choice, and it is also easier to control than the Supra. But I'd still choose the Supra over this, but still good, so 9 out of 10. Next is the Mercedes-Benz SL500, and it is a really fast car, and the power is certainly noticeable. Like the Mustang, the engine has a deep-chested rumble. The brakes are really strong too. Handling is okay, not the best. It can feel cumbersome in some corners, and it can also be a bit wild at fast exit corners. I'd pick the Supra and Evo over it, but not the Mustang, so 7.5 out of 10. Pontiac GTO. The Pontiac and the Merc share a lot of similarities. It is quick, in a straight line, and very powerful. I like the engine sound better in this one than the Merc. It is also challenging in terms of traction and twisty road control. Not much to offer over the Merc though, so similar stance here, 7.5 out of 10. Then we have the Vauxhall Monaro VXR, which is literally just a Pontiac GTO with a different badge, so 7.5 out of 10. Next is the Porsche Cayman S, and this vehicle delivered in every department. It is very fast, the handling is really confident, the grip levels are excellent, and it is not challenging to control. It really does not do much wrong, and for that, I would say it is the best choice so far, 9 out of 10. Subaru Impreza WRX STI. Like the A4, it is an all-rounder. Handling, grip and brakes are great. It feels light and the whoosh sound from the engine is lovely. It's not as fast or as talented as the Cayman, but it is better than the muscle car choices. Doesn't do a lot wrong either, so good choice. I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. Next is the Mazda RX-7, and the positive is that it is light and the handling is good. Like the RX-8, steering is positive and it feels crisp, but also like the RX-8, it lacks forceful pace, the acceleration is average, and it is not that powerful. It is a good dynamic choice, but as a whole, the Cayman, WRX, and several others are better. So final rating, 7 out of 10. Mercedes-Benz CLK 500. It has all the traits of the SL500, speed, power, sound. So yeah, they're similar, only that the CLK is lighter, so the handling is fractionally better, but not enough to make it the clear choice. It is better than the RX-7 though, so final rating 7.5 out of 10. Now the Lotus Elise. This is one of my favorite cars in the game, and for good reason. The Lotus is extremely light, so it just darts around corners like a top athlete. The handling is the best so far, grip and steering are just as good, as well as balance, and the high revving engine has this extremely fizzy, exciting sound. It is dynamically talented, an absolute joy to drive. The only drawback is that it's not the fastest at high-end speeds, and if it was Cayman fast, it would be a 10 out of 10. Most entertaining, so far 9.5 out of 10. Aston Martin DB9. The best way I can describe this car is the mix of the SL500 and Cayman. It has got muscle car characteristics that the SL has, like the power, speed and sound, and it has some of the Cayman's abilities like grip. So I think it is better than the SL500, but not the Cayman. It is a very solid choice. but it's not more entertaining than the Lotus, of course, so 8 out of 10. Porsche 911 Carrera S. I don't really have much to say about the 911, it just feels like the Cayman, which means it's excellent, 9 out of 10. Dodge Viper SRT 10. This is a really good car, it's very fast and powerful. It turns in nicely and it is not as wild to control as I thought it would be. It is a positive vehicle to drive. I think it's better than the Mercs and the muscle cars and also the Aston. So final rating 8.5 out of 10. Lamborghini Gallardo. This is a wicked fast car. It has serious pace. The V10 sounds amazing. Traction, grip, handling, poise, power. It is a highly accomplished supercar. I don't have much wrong to say about the Gallardo. None at all. It is a premium option, so 9.5 out of 10. Porsche 911 Turbo S. Once again, not much different to the other Porsches. It feels like the Cayman and the Carrera S, only with fractionally more pace, so 9 out of 10. Chevrolet Corvette C6 Stingray. Another very powerful and fast car. The engine is loud and sounds great. Brakes are powerful and handling is competent. I wouldn't say it's better than the Gallardo all round, but I think it's on par with the Viper, so 8.5 out of 10. Now the Lamborghini Murcielago. It is basically the Gallardo's big brother. It is extremely fast and as usual the V12 sounds epic. It is as good as the Gallardo, really exciting, so yes, 9.5 out of 10. Ford GT. Like the Murcielago, this car is rapid. It is the Ford Mustang on steroids. It handles well and is an exciting vehicle to pilot. I think it is slightly more challenging to control than the Gallardo, and I'd still pick the Lambos over this, but just, so 9 out of 10. Next is the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren, and this Merc is blindingly fast. Fractionally faster than the Murcielago. It's got all the top traits of a high-end supercar. At this point, which car you choose boils down to personal preference. In the end, I still prefer the Murcielago, but still 9.5 out of 10. And finally, we have the Porsche Carrera GT. The V10 engine sounds spectacular. I mean, it's absolutely jaw-dropping, the best sounding engine of any other vehicle. It is obviously sensationally quick and dynamically gifted. It is a challenge sometimes to control, especially at quick, sharp corners, but that makes it very entertaining. You know what, I think the Carrera GT is perfect, so I'm giving it a perfect score of 10 out of 10. So there you have it, every stock car and Need for Speed Most Wanted rated. Do you agree with my ratings? Disagree with them? What do you think? Comment down below, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.